Hey, how you doing? Well, now that we're finally settling in and have a little bit more time, I've managed to get my workroom, my not my workshop in the house, but a workroom where I can do the smaller detailed pieces of art that I'm hoping to do. I'm very interested in puppets. I'm a long-time fan of the Muppet Show and the Muppets generally, and how clever they are that they've done so much in. Well, nothing is the same in the puppet world since the Muppets. Let's face it. So I created this little workplace, which is my haven of peace. I can get away from here, and I keep it. I've managed now to get a rule where nobody comes in to my workshop. So there we are. No entry under age 84. This means you. I hope you were able to see that. So this is my workshop. I'll turn around and I'll put this down, and you'll be able to see a little bit at least of what I'm doing. So if we look now, the way that I've worked it, I got some lights there which I've done on a budget. Keep forgetting to get the pins to put this up, staples. Haven't done that yet. But this is my workshop, my work table. I got some stuff doing there, some foam which I went to a great deal of trouble to get. And the way that this has been worked is that it can still have a guest or two or three if they're kids, and they can be there. And now we've got fans, so it's a lot cooler in here, so they're able to spend the night if they wish. But as I've said on other videos, actually they're quite happy to sleep out in the living room on the tiled floor, which they find is cool. Well, that's Filipino kids. They've got bones of rubber, and whereas I would be waking up the next day aching from top to bottom, head to foot, they don't. They seem to get on very, very well. So let's put this down. Someone knocking, maybe. Back. Okay, I'm back. While we're here, I can't actually leave doors open if I'm not there, because we still have people who, well, probably maybe even more so now, with the exception of students, but we still have people that come and they need help. Mistakenly, they think that we are personally very rich, which is really not the situation. But what can we do? We can't tell people and have them believe us. So this is my little work area. I'm working at the moment on a silly puppet. Kind of like this. So yeah, I still have a body to go on this. So there's a body to go on it, but this is very loud. But still quite expressive. What I wanted was to be able to put on this one, I would put, let me move you a bit closer. So this would kind of be a little bit more like that. See, and you get a lot of movement with that hair. You've got to work it out exactly where it's going to go. Have to do the body for this, and of course the eyes are a little bit staring. You have to make those bigger so that they're not scaring me. So that's the kind of thing, if you look Now the body will hide this, and it will be quite expressive. And of course I won't have to be a qualified ventriloquist to be able to use this, you know. Will I? No. Will I have to? Yes? Is that a yes, a Filipino? Oh, that's no. I thought it was yes. It is yes. It's a Filipino puppet. Look what I made. I made a monster. Okay, well that's what I'm working on right now. Yes, I know. Probably a very silly thing for an old man to be working on, but that's what we're like when we get like this. So I've got my tools. The main work on something like this, I would prefer to be able to do this in wet clay, air dry clay. This is air dry clay, but it's more of a synthetic thing. So it's not. This is a problem with working in the Philippines, is that you really can't get everything that you want. And you've got to remember that we're living on Bohol, and Bohol is actually a small island off a small island. And I swear that when we first came here, I went to, this is how scarce things were, I went to 4 different drugstores. Right, 4 different pharmacies looking for band-aids, and none of them had band-aids. So when I went round to Alturas and I found this Jovi air dry clay, it's probably looking back to front there, but anyway, that's what it is. It's Jovi air dry clay, and it's very easy to work, very easy to work. You can see I can actually dent this. See, but it's not as good as wet air dry clay. Well, but anyway, I've learned since I came here that if you go and you look for a certain thing, supposing you were looking and you wanted to buy a little knife like this that somebody gave, this as a gift. Somebody gave this to me, beautiful, it's really good, and it can be folded and taken away. Well, if I went to a store now, once upon a time I would have said, you know, it would be nice to have 2 of those, but I'll just get one and I'll come back next week and get the other. No, what you do is you buy more than you need because it won't be there next week. So that's what's happening on things like tools. They've changed a lot now. You can go and you can get packs with tools like this, which you need for model making, and you can get packs of screwdrivers like this. And there's a new store that's happened in Talibon, which is growing fast now, by the way. So the new store is Mr. DIY, which is clever that they've chosen that name, because if you were telling somebody, yeah, I'm going to the DIY store, and now they've stolen that name for themselves, and it's Mr. DIY. So that's a good thing. Now, if I were in, especially if I were in Florida, in Fort Myers, I'd be able to go to an art store, and I'd be able to get everything that I want. I've been here, I can't find any sculpting tools. So sculpting tools, you need particular shapes for particular things. So with what I thought was a brilliant idea, I went to Mr. DIY and I saw these. And these are little tiny spoons for heaven knows what. So I think I bought 2 packs, and the idea being that there's a sculpting tool for one. Now I can take one of the others and I can angle off this with the angle grinder, and then I'll have a real point and an angle, and then I can flatten this. I can flatten this with a hammer, and I can shape that with the angle grinder, and I can shape it any way that it needs to be. So I got those. I also thought, well, while I'm there, using my method of if it's there, you should get it, because it won't be there. Even in the morning it may not be there. So these are all really nice stainless steel, and they're quite nice and quite well made. Now I'll be able to make a sculpting tool out of that too, and mainly I'll be hammering this flat. I'll hammer it flat, and then I'll shape it to whatever I want. So you have to make do, and it's still fun, but you just have to be aware of what you want. Now, a friend, at one time I couldn't get a nice sketch pad like this, so when a friend asked me, what can we get for you, what can we send in the Balik Bayan box, good drawing paper was what I needed. What I needed then, I still don't have it, but I've given up on that, is good drawing pencils. Now, pencils here are straight from China, and the thing about the Chinese products is that they made according to the specification that they're given. So it's one of those things that China can actually make quality things. If you've ever been to China, you will be amazed at the quality of the artwork, which is incredible. And I always, whenever I came back from a visit to China, I always thought, once their industrial stuff is equivalent to their art, they will be the major producers, major manufacturers of almost anything that we need, and the quality will be incredible. People are actually going to China to get stuff made. But I had an experience when I was in Fort Myers, that I had something that I'd made. I used to make custom furniture, and I had this what I thought could be a flat pack playhouse, and I had the plans, and I'd actually made a scale model of the playhouse that I could show. Well, when I went to Home Depot, here's me thinking that if they would allow me to, say, speak to their buyer, I would speak to their buyer, I would make my pitch, I would show the drawings, and then if they would grant me that amount of time, I would show them the scale model that I'd made of the flat pack playhouse. No, it didn't work that way, and I was quickly educated on how it is. They'll look at a product, but they will tell you what they want to buy it for. So what this does is it puts people in a very difficult position, you know, because now you have got to make it so that you can still make a profit while making something like this. But if it's below the quality that you had in mind when you set your price, it's a challenge. So that's one of the reasons that I think we see so much Chinese garbage being offered, and especially in the Philippines. Now, in the Philippines, where the income level is so much lower, you will go out and you'll buy a pair of scissors like this. Now, I'm sure these are actually stainless steel, so they're better quality than perhaps you might have gotten somewhere else, and they feel as if they're quite good. But if you were promoting this as a sale and you took that in, if you couldn't make it for the price that they were prepared to pay you, you would have to reduce the quality. And that's why that's why a lot of the stuff that is sent even to America, a lot of it is dumped here in the Philippines, but they know that people can't afford to buy things. Now, you know, even a building block is made to a certain quality, and the building blocks here are such poor quality that if you drop a building block from, say, shoulder height onto the floor, it will break. It will shatter into pieces because of the proportions between sand and cement. So why is that? Well, in order to be able to produce the building block, the hollow block as they call them here, for the price that they know they can sell, that's what they have to do. They have to reduce the quality. So anyway, I got off on what I was really wanting to talk about, which is my plans for doing some puppet shows, and this is just an easy first, getting my feet wet in making a puppet, and then I'll get on to making much more complex pieces than this. I used to be a custom furniture maker in Florida and in California. I didn't have much success doing that in Florida, but I managed to make a living when I was supporting my kid. I was a single parent of a boy, and I actually managed to make a living by making custom furniture. I specialized in what they call distressed furniture, which is where you make the thing brand new and then you make it look as if it's 60 or 100 years old. Such is the things that we go for. So that's my little workshop. A quick pan around my untidy desk. So I got some socks for making some sock puppets, which I'm not really much in favour of. I got my tools, markers, super glue. Coming back, I got my sketch pad for doing what I need to on design. I got my first little puppet going, and there it is like that. So we'll be seeing him in action fairly soon. I have to keep the plastic on because it is air dry clay. There's my little store of, just in case it's not there next week, materials. Stuff sticking to me. This is some of the old stuff that's been left in here when my workroom was being used elsewhere. So I've got lots of different things that I have bought. Even an English Visayan dictionary. I got a couple of sketch pads there. And another mop head, which will be used for hair. And there's my little screwdriver set. And more sketch pads. More tools that I think that I'll be using. Got toilet paper for the toilet, and also for doing paper mache. So glue, all kinds of things that I need. And you may have heard that noise that came. It's because the rain has suddenly come. Look at that, dark clouds. It all happens very fast. So so that's an introduction to what I'm doing right now. Getting back to doing a little creative work, which I've been missing. Okay, so thank you for being with me. Bye for now.